Okay, something I realized is that the core problem for so many other problems that people have is that they have no idea what they're good at. And they think they do. So they'll say things like, oh, I'm a good team player, or I'm good at communication. But so many people are, and that doesn't really mean anything. And the problem is when you don't know your strengths, you end up struggling to stay motivated because you're forcing yourself to do work that doesn't come naturally to you. You second guess yourself because you always don't feel like you're in the right place. And you feel stuck and behind because it's a lot harder to succeed when you're not focused on what you're already good at. But the good news is that there are ways to fix that. So in this video, I'm going to share 7 powerful ways to figure out what you're actually good at, ranked from least to most accurate. Let's dive in. First of all, follow your envy. Envy is not just a negative emotion. It's a really good clue. So if you find yourself constantly drawn to people with certain careers or certain types of people, there's a good reason for that. It's your brain's way of saying, hey, I want that too. But here's the thing, it's not always accurate because sometimes we admire people for the wrong reasons. And sometimes we enjoy the fruits of their labor, but we don't really know what they did to get there. And we don't enjoy the day-to-day things. So it's just a good start. Next, look at what other people ask you to help with. If people keep coming to you for advice or for problem solving, it might be because they recognize something in you that you don't really see in yourself. So ask yourself, what do people always ask you to explain? What do your coworkers or friends rely on you for? What's the thing they ask you for over and over again? Chances are it might be one of your core strengths. Okay, number 5, track your compliments. Chances are if something comes easily to you, you just assume that it's the case for everyone else. But it's really not. What feels effortless to you might be a real struggle for other people. So start paying attention to the compliments you get. So if people keep telling you that you're great at explaining things or spotting patterns or being creative, that might be something to look into. But remember that people only see what's visible. So if you have some internal strengths or things that you never really got the chance to show, people might not realize that and not see that in you, even though it's there. Okay, number 4, pay attention to what energizes you. This is a really good clue. Because research shows that when you're working with your natural strengths and using them, you actually feel more energized, and people say they literally feel more alive when they do that. This can also be called a flow state, that feeling when you're so focused that time just disappears. So if you feel like you lose track of time while doing something like writing, designing, solving problems, or presenting, that can be a huge indicator to your strengths. And on the flip side, if something drains you, so you feel really tired and exhausted after doing it, it's probably not a strength, but a skill that you built out of necessity. Okay, number 3, look at your childhood. There's a reason that so many successful people talk about what they loved doing as kids. Before career expectations, before worrying if that's realistic, you're naturally drawn into certain activities. And these activities hold clues. So maybe you were the one who's always organizing things, or maybe you were obsessed with building things, or you loved explaining concepts to people. These things don't just disappear when you become an adult. So if there's something that you loved doing back then that still excites you today, pay attention to it. Okay, number 2, follow what feels effortless. We all have natural aptitudes, basically hardwired abilities that aren't learned, they're just built into how our brain is wired. That's why some people are naturally gifted at spatial reasoning, and they could easily visualize objects in 3D, and that makes them really good at potentially things like architecture, engineering, or even surgery. Other people have a strong sense of rhythm and auditory processing, so these people could be really good at speech-related fields. And then there's some people that are so fast at processing information, so they like things like analysis or strategic thinking. Those things are not random. They're usually part of how you're wired. So if something comes easily to you, that's a huge clue. And that brings us to number 1, which is a strength assessment. So this is basically a way to pinpoint those natural abilities. And unlike personality tests, these assessments don't just tell you what you like, they measure what you're actually good at. They test things like how fast you process information, how you solve problems, how you approach challenges, and they give you like a scientifically backed roadmap to your natural strengths. Because it's not self-reported, so there's no bias, and it's not measuring what you think you're good at, but it's measuring what you're actually good at through timed assessments. So that's it. These are 7 powerful ways to figure out your natural strengths. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps the channel, and it helps me make more content like this. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.